Okay, so the first section of the lecture today is on Dockerfile. So what exactly is a Dockerfile? Okay, remember in the last example in the that we did, we had to first create the image, download the image for the MySQL, and then excuse me, open up a container for MySQL. And after we connected it with the network for the WordPress, we realized that we did not create the database yet for the MySQL database, or for the MySQL database, correct? So after that, what we did was we went back to the PowerShell, and from then on, from there, we manually did a docker exec-it to go into the MySQL bash shell of the container, and from there we created the database WordPress. So that is by itself a very sort of a convoluted operation, which we really want to avoid when we are using containers. So when we are using containers, the images or whatever we want to deploy should be as self-sufficient as possible, and we shouldn't have to make use of such complicated things in order to deploy a MySQL image. So how then do we get this done is through, or rather the way that we can sort of simplify this process is through something called a Dockerfile. So first thing, a Dockerfile is the name of the file. It is best to keep it as per what they specify, which is Docker with a capital D, which is Dockerfile with a capital D, and no extensions at all. So there's no .text, there's no .json. It is just Dockerfile, a file called Dockerfile with the capital D. Okay. Next, we will look at how a Dockerfile looks like. This is an example of a very super simple example of a Dockerfile. Usually, okay, so first thing, you see the hashes here. These hashes, they are like, they are the commands. Usually the first line is a from, and this specifies the image that you are capturing, or rather the image that you are launching the container from. So in this case, we are running the image of Ubuntu with the tag the latest. So we are running the latest version of the official Ubuntu image. So if I don't have Ubuntu on my current local host, what it will do is it will automatically do a docker pull Ubuntu latest to get the image down onto my local machine, and then it will install or rather it will create the container using this image. The Dockerfile will then subsequently execute the lines one by one. The next line it will execute will be the run apt-get update. So essentially what this Dockerfile does is it will go through every single line and it will execute every single line in order to make sure that the image we create is the image that allows us to deploy with the least amount of time or customization. So in this case, after I create the Ubuntu image in the the container that has the Ubuntu image, I do a run apt-get update. I update apt-get to the latest version, and then I will install the following so-called software into my Ubuntu, which is Python pip, and wget. And after all these are installed, I'll then install Flask. So this is the first portion of this Dockerfile. The next thing will be I will be adding my hello.py into this directory. So add, it is very similar to copy, which you'll encounter slightly later on. it means that there is a file called hello.py on my local machine, and this command allows me to copy a file a copy of excuse me, it can be either a file or a set of directories from my local machine into my Docker container. So in particular, this command is copying the file hello.py from my local machine into my current Docker container containing the Ubuntu, the latest version of Ubuntu. And finally, it goes to set the working directory of my Ubuntu container to my -home. So this is what this sample Dockerfile is. Just as a recap, we went through the commands on top, which is the from command, the run command, the add command, work directory command, which is like the changing of your working directory. There will be a few other commands that will be excuse me, that are extremely common and useful, and that will be the expose command. The expose command exposes the ports that you want to expose for your container. The environment command, which sets the environmental variables of your container. The copy, which is extremely similar to the add command over here. The command line, which we will go through slightly later, and also the volume, which we will go through at the very end of the lecture of today. So these will be the commands that you'll be involved in, or you'll be learning during this session of Dockerfile. The next thing we'll do, we'll go back to our example on the WordPress versus MySQL, and we'll revisit that and make sure that we will try to create MySQL, our customized MySQL image, which already has the database WordPress set as an environmental variable. Okay, so right now, imagine we are now going to create a custom image for our MySQL version 5.7, and in that custom image, we will want to automatically have the database WordPress created. From this list of commands over here, what do you think will be the commands that we might need? Would we need this? Yes, we will probably need this, because we need to say from which original base image, which we will assume to be from MySQL 5.7. Probably we may or may not need run. We'll talk about this later. We probably don't need add, because we don't need to copy any files. We also probably will need to change the working directory. Would we need expose? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. But actually we will need expose, because we will be exposing the port 3306. Remember, in our last exercise, we had to expose 3306 for the container. So in the Dockerfile, we will have to expose the 3306 port as well. And environment, we may or may not need, similar to the run. Copy, we probably don't need to copy any files. Command, we probably don't need that. Volume, we also don't need that. The only two things that we may or may not need will be to run or the environment. So naturally, you may be thinking, we will need to do the run because we may need to open up the MySQL container, and then to run the execution of the create database command. But in fact, that is not the recommended way to do this, because as you're doing this, your container may not be instantiated yet. So usually what we do is, at this point of time, we run it, if it is just through a simple creating of a database, we can create it through the environment variable. And if we need to load in more data, then we create it through a MySQL script which we copy from our local host, from our local machine to the Docker container, and then we run that MySQL script. In this case, we are just creating a very simple database. So fortunately, we can do it very easily through the environmental command, and we need not have the run command. So in summary, what we need to be, we need the from, we need the expose, and we need the environmental command. And these will be the only 3 commands that we need for our Dockerfile. Oops. Okay, to create this Dockerfile, you can first go over to PowerShell and create a directory there. In this case, I've created the directory called Docker WordPress, and as you can see here, after that I created a file known as Dockerfile. So to take note that the file name is case sensitive, it has a capital D, and there's no extension there. After doing this, you can head over to your favorite editor, like Sublime, and from the previous part, remember we talked about we need the from, we probably need the expose, and we also need the environment. So from will be MySQL, because we are the base image that we are building it from will be MySQL 5.7. Expose will be the port, and this will be 3306. Environment will be MySQL database, and that will be WordPress. So this will be all that we need to do. We can head over to PowerShell, and we can start to do docker build -t, and this should be my own MySQL dot, which means the current directory. So it will now find the Docker file in the current directory, which is why it is so important for the naming convention of Dockerfile to be there. In this case, it will pull from the load the image from MySQL 5.7. It exposes the port, and now it runs the container. It runs the environmental variable to create the database, and it has successfully built the container. Let's see, successfully built the image. Let's say we do a Docker image ls. So now you see that my own MySQL has an image here. If I look at the container, I don't have any running containers. Do I have anything here? No, I have nothing here as well. So I don't have my own MySQL running right now. Of course I should run it. So I can do a docker run minus name temp MySQL minus network temp network, and I need to do a -e MySQL root password equals 12345. I detach it, and my Docker image will be my own MySQL. I don't think I missed anything. I don't need any port here, so I hope my network is still there. Let's do a docker container ls docker container temp go, let's say I want to inspect it. Okay, I still have it here, my temp network is here, and it looks fine. Let's go clear. The next thing I need to do is to do a Docker run, and now this will be WordPress. I need to expose the port 8080 to port 80, and I need to do a network equals to temp network name equals to temp WordPress, detach it and do a WordPress. So it will pull the WordPress image from the hub. It is pulling because I have I've already deleted off the image. So I delete image quite a bit too often, but just like to take things a bit cleaner. So Docker container ls. So both are now running. Let's see if this works right now. I will go to my Chrome, go to localhost, yeah, and now this is running. Let's see if this is running or not. This will be root 1 2 3 4 5 temp mysql 3306. Yep. So we are done. So right now we have done the previous how to say, we have done the previous demo, but this time using a Dockerfile. So we have come to this portion of the lecture. Thank you.